Okay. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Hopefully you all were able to find something so you don't slowly starve to death. If not, good luck. Our next speaker, I should be looking at Hacker Tracker so I don't improv all this. Our next speaker is going to be Mark L. Khoury, and they have a bio this time, so I'm going to read it. Mark started as an offensive security consultant doing penetration testing and code and design reviews. Mark then expanded his skill set into the defensive side, leading cybersecurity at various organizations and industry, including gaming, fintech, and biometrics. Mark is a conference speaker, holds security certifications, and was an instructor at... Can I read that? Should I not be censoring that? Okay. Holds an instructor at Columbia University Cybersecurity Boot Camp for over 4 years. Mark is now Director of Security Engineering at Movable Inc. And I turn it over to you.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks. So last September, I released this tool to analyze Chrome extensions. We'll cover the tool, but first I wanted to show you why I care about Chrome extensions and why I find them interesting. So this is what the tool looks like. It's just like you paste the Chrome extension ID and it'll analyze it. We'll get into that in a bit. But first, so when I was a pen tester, we mostly tested web applications. And one of the things you find in web applications is cross-site scripting, XSS, right? And so that means you're running JavaScript in the context of a browser. That's usually a high severity finding. We like to be able to run JavaScript in someone's browser. You can do a lot with that. So fast forward a few years, I was working I moved into security engineering. I'm on the blue side, and one of our developers was showing me something on GitHub. That was around 8 years ago, and his GitHub had dark mode. But back then, GitHub didn't have dark mode. And I'm like, how do you have dark mode on GitHub? And he's like, Chrome extension, bro. And I was like, oh, cool. But then it clicked that, wait, should you be giving a Chrome extension or allowing a Chrome extension to run within the context of your GitHub? Because for it to add dark mode, it means it needs to be able to read the data on the website and inject its own CSS or JavaScript. So it clicked like, something seems weird here. And recently, there's been, so that was like just one of many actual Chrome extensions that add dark mode, which now you don't even need, but they're still there. So recently there's been a few stories about Chrome extensions. The first one is with the Honey extension. So they were basically just like swapping the affiliate code with their own to just make money. And that got people thinking like, that like Chrome extensions can actually do a lot. Like they can tamper data within your browser. And we do everything within our browsers, like banking, like everything's, all our emails are on our browsers if you use Gmail. There was another recent incident. This one was in December. So Cyberhaven is a DLP tool, data loss protection. It's basically like corporate spyware to make sure that your employees aren't stealing data or emailing 10,000 social security numbers. So the way this one works is they had a Chrome extension, and so the Chrome extension got compromised. How? So they got this phishing email, very convincing phishing email that said like, hey, you need to go and update your Chrome extension, otherwise we're gonna remove it from the store. And they're a vendor, so they don't want that to happen. And so they looked, and this was the phishing page that they got, and it was a legitimate Google OAuth page where you give the attacker access to your Chrome extension. So it wasn't on a malicious domain, it was actually by Google. And it's really hard to spot, but this is actually giving the attacker full access, admin, to your Chrome extension. And so the attackers injected their own script into that Chrome extension, and the Chrome extension had access to do everything on all websites. So what would you do if you could do anything on any website? In this case, they chose to steal Facebook business accounts, the session cookies to do ad fraud, which fine, I guess. That's the ad fraud is a whole industry by itself. But there's so much you can do if you have access to someone's browser. So recently, I actually saw this article, I think like yesterday or 2 days before. Someone wrote who was it? I think that, yeah, Pulse Dive. There's an article on Pulse Dive. Really cool article around this info stealer, which, so imagine like you download malware. The malware, it's an exe. It can run anything on your machine. Okay, and given that the malware can run anything on your machine, what they chose to do was to sideload a Chrome extension into your browser, because like running malware, like running exe isn't even like being able to run a Chrome extension is even more powerful, because now you have like full context, like the context is the browser, and so you can do so much. And so the permissions this Chrome extension had was a list here. So Chrome extensions have permissions when you install them. They're scoped to certain things you can run in the browser. And technically, when you're installing the Chrome extension, you're giving it those permissions. So if you Google just like Chrome extension permissions, there's the blog, like the documentation lists all the permissions and what they're capable of. And so, for example, this malicious Chrome extension had so many, like tabs, for example. If you have access tabs, you can like screenshot and read all of the other tabs in the browser. There's like system.memory, system.storage, display, so it can basically take like screenshots of what you're browsing, storage, like cookies. Cookies here also, like I think last time I checked, we say like, oh, cookies should have the HTTP only and secure flag, so that if someone have, but Chrome extension has access to your cookies either way. Like it has access to local storage as well. So you bypass some security mechanisms here when you can run within the browser directly. So there's many Chrome extensions in general. Like this is one example of like replacing the word systemd with buts. And some of them have users. I mean, this one specifically was made by Jesse Frizzell. We love Jesse Frizzell, but this was made like 10 years ago, and it's still on the store. You can still download it. It might have actually just changed with Manifest v2 to v3, but anyway, the idea is like there's many like old extensions still up there. So what exactly is a Chrome extension? So it's basically a zip file. So when you want to download a Chrome extension, you go to the web store, and when you click add, it downloads something called a CRX3 file or a CRX file. And that's basically, it has a custom header with like an RSA public key and a signature, but then it's just a zip file. So you can just like unzip it, and it has the JavaScript in there. This is what the file hex looks like. So Chromium is an open source version of Chrome, and you can, in the code for Chromium, you can see all of the details of the CRX file header and everything there. So when you want to download a Chrome extension, when you go to the web store, this is the URL of a Chrome extension in the web store. For example, this is adblock plus, and you see the last part of the URL is the Chrome extension ID. Okay, so when you download a Chrome extension, the folder name will be the ID. And same thing with my tool. When you want to scan a Chrome extension, you just paste the ID, and that's what it's going to scan. And if you want to download the CRX file yourself, then you can also just access this URL, paste the Chrome extension ID, and it'll download it. One kind of annoying thing is Chrome wants you to give them the version of Chrome in the URL. If it's too out of date, it doesn't let you download it anymore. But something to keep in mind. So once you download it and you basically unzip the CRX file, these are generally the file contents, or like at least something similar. And so you'll see like basically like a JavaScript folder and JavaScript files in there. And an interesting file is that last one, the manifest.json. So if I want to analyze Chrome extensions and what they do, where do I start? And usually the manifest.json is the best place to start, because that's where the permissions of the Chrome extensions are defined. And here's an example of a simple one. So this is the manifest v2. So Google just switched from manifest v2, which is the older versions, they were a bit simpler, to manifest v3. And like allegedly, it's like you have more granular permissions and you can't load external JavaScript. But we were just talking like it's really just because they want to block ad blockers, so they make more ad. Anyway, the simple you can barely see it here. I'll zoom in a bit, but basically it's just a JSON blob, and it defines like what script can run on which websites. You can list a bunch of URLs to be like, okay, I only want my script to run on these websites. But sometimes you can basically do like */*, meaning your JavaScript can run on all websites. Here's is slightly more zoomed in, but this is like the part where it gives permissions, and it just lists the permissions of the Chrome extension there. So if I want to analyze a Chrome extension, you basically download the CRX, unzip it, look at the manifest, and you parse it, and you see like what permissions does it have, and where do these permissions run. And this is the example of like it's showing you like this JavaScript should run at, in this case, it's just on all websites, all protocol, all websites, all URLs. So I learned that when you say the words Chrome extension security, this man will just start talking to you. Like he basically, John Tuckner, he's a really, really cool guy, knows a lot about Chrome extensions. And so when I was making my tool, we basically got in touch, and so he's actually making a similar tool. So my tool is an open source tool that made for like just degenerates like you, like just anyone can use it. Like it doesn't. Whereas he's making an enterprise version that's more for like monitoring at the enterprise level. But we started talking, and so he showed me that there's actually a marketplace for you to sell your Chrome extension. And so like imagine you're like a 16-year-old, you made the Chrome extension and suddenly you got like 100,000 viewers, but you don't really give a shit about it. Like, it's like, okay, what do I do with it now? I'm bored. And someone's like, oh, well, I'll pay you money for you to give me your Chrome extension. So he showed me this marketplace. I'm like, okay, I mean, in theory, it's so cool, but does it actually work? Can you actually buy access to someone's Chrome extension? And so he tried it. He found this one Chrome extension that had declarative network requests, so it can like temper network requests on everything, on all websites. And he sent them an email. He's like, hey, I want to buy your Chrome extension. And they're like, what's your budget? And he's like, initially they like thought like $50, and then he tried to pay the person, but then payment wasn't going through, and the guy was like, just it's okay, you can just have my Chrome extension. So he just gave him the Chrome extension for free and transferred ownership. And now John Tuckner owned this Chrome extension. He was the admin, and so he could just push code onto all of the browsers basically that were running this Chrome extension that had it installed. And so he did that. So I installed it to test, and he basically redirected Secure Annex's website. He made a thing where if you're visiting this website, it redirects to this YouTube video. Does anyone know what this is? Yeah. Did you memorize the URL? Many people memorize the URL. That's how you become immune to Rickrolling. Although there's alternate URLs you can. But just to show you, I should be on the Wi-Fi here. Like this is the Chrome extension. You might know I am on Brave here. Brave is Chromium based, so you can still install Chrome extensions from the store. And so I have it installed, and if I go to secureannex.com, it plays. So and here this is just a proof of concept. He could have redirected anything. He could have. I mean, a very easy alternative is just redirect me to a phishing page, and it's in my browser, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, this is when the Chrome extension was approved and published, and then there's like recently someone tweeted that they bought a Chrome extension that had 400,000 viewers, and I mean this guy was proud enough to tweet about it, but you can imagine many people don't have to broadcast that information. So yeah, you can buy access to Chrome extensions that have excessive permissions, and now you own many people's browsers. My tool, so I wanted a way to analyze Chrome extensions. Does anyone remember, there used to be CRX? I used to use that. It was maintained by Duo, but it kind of got abandoned, and so it wasn't working for a while, and so I just wanted to make my own. So I wrote it in Ruby on Rails, and I deployed it on Heroku. And so this is a demo just in case there wasn't internet, but I think we might, depending on how much time we have, we might play around with it first. But basically how it works is this is the the main page, you paste an extension ID, and it basically does the steps where it downloads it, extracts the manifest, analyzes it, and then displays the results. I'll explain the results in a second. It shows you first some ratings, the security details, what hard-coded URLs on there. It shows you the full manifest. And I wanted to add a few things, like eventually I might integrate with John Tuckner's secure annex to pull some more data from him. But that's the main idea. So yeah, the main page. So when you scan a Chrome extension, there's a banner first, and this is just scraping the Chrome Web Store for basic information. Chrome is actually the hardest to part because like the other web stores, like for Edge or Firefox, they just give you the manifest from the URL directly. You don't have to like extract it or scrape their web store, but Chrome doesn't do that. Anyway. So the bottom part, and I'll explain in a second, but there's actually two different ratings. Like I had the bottom one first, but I kind of wanted more. I'll explain in a sec. So it gives you like some findings, like a security tool does, based on the permissions it detects. The details tab lists the permissions again, what hosts it can run on, and then I did a quick grep to just extract hard-coded URLs from all of the files in the CRX. And just list them here. And then you have the manifest itself. And the manifest, if you zoom in, like again, as we saw, it lists permission and on the URLs it can run on. And so there's a separate tab of my tool called statistics. I'm still kind of working on that. I want to add some like pie charts and stuff. But so far, I released the tool around like September or October, and I just like organically like kept it on the internet. And because it's a web app, anyone can use it. And so every day I have a few people scan a few more extensions, and so far I have around 1,700 extensions scanned of varying risk levels, but we'll talk about risk levels a little bit at the end. There's also a Twitter bot. I mostly made it for me to see like a sign of life from whenever someone scans, although the Twitter API, the free version, only has up to 17 messages per day, so it might reach that, but anyway. I learned that when you make a security tool, one of the challenges is the risk ratings. Ranking risk accurately is kind of hard because when I first released the tool, many things were just listed as critical severity. Because I realized like many Chrome extensions just have excessive permissions. So a lot of things were listed as critical severity, and that's not very useful. If your tool lists every single thing as high or critical, then I don't even need to scan because I'm just going to assume everything's going to be critical. So what's the point of even scanning something? So that was the first challenge I ran into, like everything critical, not very useful. So one example is Privacy Badger made by the EFF, which I do trust. And so it does, at the surface level, when I first scanned it, it was like, oh, high severity, it has a lot of permissions. But actually, when you look into it, like it's reputable, it's like scoped to certain domains, it's done in a reasonable way. So it shouldn't really be high severity. And so what I did was I split into two. So the bottom part was like just traditional of like it scans, it looks for a few things, and based on your permissions, it has different findings, and then it counts, like if you have more than like let's say 7 high severity like findings in your Chrome extension, then it lists the overall risk rating as like critical. But I wanted more, so at the top I'm using Anthropic API, the Claude API, and I basically send it all of the information I got from the Chrome extension, the manifest, my own findings. I send it to Claude, and I'm like, hey, like this is a Chrome extension. This is all of the information I have on it. Like, what do you think? And I said, like, consider also like if you know who built this Chrome extension, just consider the reputation of the vendor or the the reputation of the developer, and like consider how many downloads it has and like everything. And so now I keep my original analysis, and then it also has its own. And basically, that's kind of like if you want to give information to like an analyst that might not be very technical, you can just like paste this blob. Like one of the recommendations always says is like you consider running it in a separate Chrome profile because that like separates. So it isolates it to a specific Chrome profile. And for example, in their case of the EFF plugin, Privacy Badger, it ranks it as low, which I think is reasonable. And so I mentioned I had around 1,700 Chrome extensions scanned, and I looked at I pulled all of the data and analyzed it. And so the light blue color is the original ranking, and the purple one is the AI or Anthropic API's is rankings. And so did it work? I mean, I don't know. The biggest difference is that there's much less critical findings. So it significantly reduced the number of ones ranked as critical, but most of them it just ranked them as high instead. So there's way more high severity ones now. Yeah, I'm still not sure about this. So I mean, if you have feedback, let me know. I mean, I want the tool to be useful, but it's just kind of hard to rank things, and so that's why I kind of just give you all of the context as a user, where it shows you all of the findings, it shows you both rankings, and it's kind of up to you. Like, it depends on the context, right? Which is, I guess, the right way to approach any security findings. Like, depends who's using. Is it your CFO? Is it something that they really need? So it's up to you. So yeah, the tool is at crxexaminer.tech. You can use it now. It's a Rails app. If it breaks, I guess let me know. Maybe I might fix it. Maybe. Cool. Yeah, that's it. I mean, we can do a quick demo maybe. Does anyone have a Chrome extension they want to scan? Or I guess I can just show you. If I go into the statistics tab here, so it shows you here the list of recently scanned Chrome extensions. Like, someone scanned this one today. By default, the list is only the last 10, but I think eventually I might expand this and add some charts. But so let's go into a random one. This is critical, so just let's see what it is. And so you can click here, and it takes you to the Chrome Web Store if you want. It says when it was last scanned, and I think I did a thing where if it was last scanned more than 48 hours ago, you can force a rescan just so it pulls a more recent version, and then you can see here like the AI based ranking, and then my own findings, and then you can see some of the other data. Yeah, so play around with it. Let me know what you think. I mean, I'm happy to hear feedback and see how I can improve it. Oh, the last thing I'll say is, so CRX is for Chrome and Chromium-based browsers. Edge also uses CRX as a file format, but it has a completely different store. Firefox and Safari use different file formats. I think it's the same concept, where it's kind of like a compressed archive of JavaScript. But eventually, I'll probably start supporting other extension stores for other browsers. But so far, it is just for Chrome. Yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you. We have like 2 minutes for questions. Yeah.
So when your friend elevated the permission set, didn't it ask the user to leave?
Yeah, that's a great question. So he didn't elevate the permissions because the permissions were already there. So that's why he picked this one. So there wasn't a permission change. And so from my end, the owner did change, the owner of the Chrome extension, but Chrome doesn't notify you as an end user. Like, there was no indication that the owner of this Chrome extension changed. So from my end, completely invisible, which is kind of like a scary part. I think on his tool, Secure NX, he added a thing where he real-time monitors for ownership changes, and he can notify you. That's a cool thing. Yeah.
The other question I had was, I know they block extension-to-extension capabilities within there, but I heard there's pages you can go to now to then basically pull back extension interactions to do that. Have you seen anything like that, or is that?
No, I'm not sure. You mean like in the Chrome settings, you can re-enable it?
Not Chrome settings. It's like creating an HTML page.
Oh.
Right? To then interact with like, let's say you have a password manager. Well, the two browser extensions can't talk to each other. But if you make an HTML page that it auto-lands to, and it causes any interactions, that you can pull somehow. I just reading.
That sounds very interesting. No, I don't know. Yeah, it's cool to look into. Yeah. Yeah, one more question, I think, and then we'll probably have to move outside. Yeah, go ahead.
Have you thought about doing like a manual analysis of your AI results? Because I wonder, like, if you've analyzed like the false positives versus false negatives, so maybe taking like a statistical sample and then doing a manual analysis of like this was a false negative that the AI corrected versus maybe a false positive.
Yeah. I haven't really. Like the vast majority is just downgraded from critical to high. There was a couple, interestingly, that it upgraded from like low to high. For like it was like, no, this is actually sketchier than it seems. But I haven't done it just because it takes a lot of effort to look into every single one. Also, a lot of Chrome extensions are like very similar. We were just talking earlier, like for a developer, usually if you're new to developing Chrome extensions, you're like, oh, let me just like give it all the permissions while I make it because it's just easier. And so you realize like a lot of Chrome extensions ask for the same set of permissions or like excessive permissions. And so then like how do you know if it's legitimate or not, or like if it actually needs them or not? You have to like really dig into every single one. It just takes too much effort. All right, if you have more questions, I'm happy to take them outside. Thank you.